Referee Tim Lutzinger, umpire Alfred Pugh. The field judge is John Kress. That is Fairfield in the white, that is Lehigh in the brown. Here on a Saturday, February the 10th, lacrosse about to return in Fairfield, Connecticut, here at Rafferty Stadium. Violation begins the day. Fairfield has the possession to begin here in 2024, their first offensive opportunity of the season. Jake Gilbert holding to Will Consoli out of the midfield. Jake Coleman, Jake Gilbert, and Bryce Ford, 6, 13, and 20 respectively on attack. Consoli, Rob Moore, and John Akupski out of the midfield. First shot comes back, and the second by Consoli is long, and Fairfield holds on to possession. For a Fairfield group that got 71% of its scoring a year ago out of its top 4. Half those guys are back, Ford and Consoli, one on attack and one out of the midfield. Lost Jack McKenna to Ohio State. But they believe in this guy, Jake Coleman, though he gives it away. 6 who will return from behind the cage quite a bit. Lehigh's clear is successful. They were excellent in the clearing game a week ago, 17 out of 18 in the 2-goal loss on the road in Piscataway. And the first crack of the day for Lehigh on this end, Quinn Armstrong, Andrew Kelly, and Grant Rodney on attack. Here's Armstrong, 6 in brown. Rodney dodging out of the wing and now back to X. Everybody getting a touch. Back with Armstrong. His attack unit that combined for 7 of the 12 goals for Rutgers a week ago. Or against Rutgers, that is, a week ago. E.J. Vasile, a shot clock down towards 30. Armstrong again, and popped off of Rodney's stick, and he had to pick it right back up. Defended very closely by Danny Manning, playing his first seconds in a Fairfield Stags uniform, graduate transfer from the University of Vermont. One of 2 of the older players on this defensive unit. Shot clock down to 9 seconds. That never got all the way through, and it bounces towards the end line. 5 seconds to get a shot off for Lehigh. As Grant Rodney will pick it up. Wonder if either he'll just dump it down, and he does, and Fairfield gets a stop on its first defensive possession of its season. Manning, Braden Lynch, and Eli Adams. Lynch, 31 in white, a captain. And Will Snyder in net for the Fairfield Stags as Consoli starts the clearing game and lopes over that midfield line. The CAA Rookie of the Year a season ago, 24 goals, talented midfielder, and one of those guys they expect to pick up the scoring load with the departure of McKenna. Coleman from X playing catch with Bryce Ford. We talked about him off the top, 20 in white behind the net. Preseason CAA honorable mention off a great season a year ago. First touch for Rob Moore of this season. Now to Jake Gilbert, the sophomore. Coleman off the spin from X. Shot clock down towards 30. Coleman again pushed off, couple of hacks, feeds it up top. The delay and a nice check from behind. That's the long pole. Tim Curlin, the junior from Maryland. Fairfield holds on, 15 seconds to shoot. Moore off the spin, couldn't get his hands free, tried to force a pass, a bounding ball, and Lehigh forces another turnover. Lehigh right back the other way, unsettled possession. Nice behind the back feed and a first save of the year for Will Snyder. Closed the legs on E.J. Vasile. Snyder, the sophomore from Long Island on the all-rookie team in the league a year ago. They love his presence, they love his calmness, and the coach Andrew Baxter in year number 5 and year 2 for Will Snyder's asked for a little bit more fire out of his sophomore netminder. Scott Cole right off the bench for Lehigh. Now Andrew Kelly, space on the step down. Amato couldn't get his shot off, turns it off to the right for Ironman. Second line midfield is out there on the second possession of the day for Lehigh. Tyler Leahy shot off the side of the net, and Snyder there to claim the rebound in the circle. Well, Fairfield a year ago gave up right around 13 goals per game. Only Hampton allowed more in the conference. Lost Zach Antonio, led the team in caused turnovers to Ohio State, another transfer. But there's a lot of belief in this group. The return of Gilbert, the addition of Manning, and a good start so far today. Second line midfield now for Fairfield. Jason LeMay Jr. got a pass off, but that was knocked down. And once again, Amato's got it for Lehigh. Quick clear, courtesy of Giovanni Procaccini, a junior from Maryland. Led the team in ground balls a week ago at Rutgers. And Lehigh right back on the attack. Lehigh in that game went up 5-2 after one. They really came out and punched Rutgers right in the mouth. Kelly from X. There he is matched up with Eli Adams, second among all returners and caused turnovers for Fairfield. A lot of different players getting some run now. Hunter Palunki in his first collegiate action, the freshman. Palunki on a misconnection, bouncing ball towards the midline, should be over and back, and it is. And Fairfield 3 for 3 on their first defensive possession. They actually called a push in that big pile up in midfield. And so the shot clock on a reset for Lehigh back to 60. Here is Scott Cole, their captain, Offensive Player of the Year in the Patriot League a year ago, working from X in need of a goal early. Cole gets it away. That's picked off. Good defensive play by the long pole. And an easy clear for Julian Radicic, freshman long stick midi from Del Barton. Gets it back in the middle and a big save by Nick Pecora. Senior off 10 saves, 14 goals allowed at Rutgers on Saturday. Well, there haven't been any goals to this point with under 9 to go in the opening period of this one. This has certainly been no shortage of action between these two. Here's Braden Lynch, one of 5 captains. Long stick had that knocked down. Pecora's out of his net. And another ground ball pickup, this time by Tim Curlin of Lehigh. And again, they're clear very quick. Curlin long into the offensive portion. E.J. Vasile slows it on down, and Lehigh will get the guys they want out there. Pace was a conversation, especially with Andrew Baxter, about how quickly both of these teams would like to play. These are two teams and two programs built on very similar styles. They want to hit you. They want to out-tough you. You hear it in how loud they were yelling before the game started. Kelly feeds the middle, and another one just wide of the net. Rare that Vasile won't put that one away. Scored his first collegiate goal a week ago against Rutgers, the former 3-star recruit out of the great Calvert Hall in Maryland. Gwyn Armstrong picking up ahead of steam. Gets his hands free and drew a slide. And Lehigh's shot clock once again down under 20. Fairfield has taken shots early. Lehigh has taken shots late to this point. Stick check left that one away. Pass is knocked down. Shot clock still waiting. It won't matter. A flag against Lehigh. So the ground ball pickup by Manning, the grad transfer from Vermont, making his heart known early. And Fairfield in the next change of possession will go man up, though they'll take all the time they want now. As Lancaster, one of those other 5 captains, takes his way over the restraining line. The senior from Maryland, Ryan Lancaster, 12 caused turnovers a year ago at the defensive midfield. That led the team among all returners. And now Luke Akupski, another one of those captains. Big hit. Procaccini that time slammed down Consoli. Consoli popped right back up. A shot clock down under 40 for Fairfield. Cam Barisano, also another captain on this team. On the feed to 40's chased out of there. Fairfield has just not found it, still searching for that first goal of the season. Coleman with 20 seconds. He's been outstanding from X, particularly in the preseason. On the spin, he drew an early slide, still held on to the ball. 12 seconds on the reverse. Here's Ford, the lefty, gets to his right and bounced it wide. And now the penalty will come into effect. First man-up opportunity of the season for the Fairfield Stags. Lehigh last week, talk about the difference in their game against Rutgers. It really was the extra man. Rutgers converted on their 2 EMOs, and Lehigh on their 1 did not score. Interesting to see what this EMO unit looks like, right? Talked about an offense that has been reshaped. 2 of those top 4 scorers gone. Consoli out there, you'd expect it, but how about the freshman, 60 in white, John Akupski, out of Princeton, who had a great fall and a great spring. That's the left-hander on the left-hand side of the umbrella setup for Fairfield. Akupski got a touch. Penalty, by the way, against Andrew Kelly on attack for Lehigh. A minute's worth, so 45 seconds to go on this. Fairfield starts its cycle. This pass was knocked down. Good job, the big gloved hand. Will Lyman got in there for Lehigh. Now Consoli on the fake pass. Back up top. Ford with 21 seconds to go on the penalty. Here's the shot, and again, it was affected. Raul Ocha-Torrena, the junior, off a career-high couple of turnovers at Rutgers on Saturday. 16 seconds to go on the shot clock, 16 seconds to go on the EMO. Consoli faked the hammer, got it away, and a lining shot again saved by Nick Pecora. That time stood up the senior Riley Sullivan, the BU transfer out of Wilton, Connecticut. And Lehigh, for every punch that Fairfield has thrown in its defensive end, has done the same on the other side. The Mountain Hawks clear as we roll under 5 to go in the opening period. Still searching for our first goal of the day. Freddie Amato, senior midi. Andrew Kelly, sophomore tackman from Pennsylvania, off a career-high 4 goals. Got that one away to Tyler Lehigh, drew a slide, and turns it back out towards midfield. Dakota Ironman, third-year starter. He's been a starter since he came on campus. He gets inside it again. Missed the net. Lehigh closest to it. It's a Lehigh team that lost 4 of its top 5 point getters, 3 transfers. Christian Moulet is doing great things at Syracuse. Justin Tiernan at Michigan. John Sadorski to the Rutgers team that they played a year ago. A lot on these newer guys in bigger roles, like Amato. Started just 1 game a year ago, has it now to Scott Cole, the leading man from last year, to the middle, and another misconnection, a bouncing ball. Vasile couldn't grab it, and Fairfield's back on the clear with the captain, Braden Lynch. All-CAA second-teamer a year ago, along in Fairfield. Both teams perfect on their clears to this point, with under 4 to go in the opening period, and still zeros on both sides. Coleman down low. They got everybody moving, and another drop pass in the slot with Gilbert barreling down. Gilbert stepped in the crease, and Lehigh back the other way. This is a different version of this game a year ago. These two teams played a game that had 17 goals at the end of the first half in the opener in 2023. They're dangerously close to the end of the opening period without a goal at this point. Grant Rodney had his pass again knocked down, pops into the air. It's loose for Fairfield. And Akupski will start the opposite way. Fairfield said they wanted to go in transition, and here they are. Gilbert settles it down, gets a screen to his left, goes to goal, and then gets thwarted. Kelly got over through the screen, and another flag down on the field, and another against Lehigh. So free possession now with Gilbert. Jake Gilbert, who scored at Lehigh a year ago. Off to Luke Akupski, who also scored on the road in Bethlehem a season ago. Former walk-on, one of the more physical players on the team. Rob Moore now. The junior, Moore, ducks underneath 2 men, takes a shot, and again missed wide. And again, Fairfield is on its way to the extra man opportunity here in this opening period. And it was another penalty for Lehigh. I think it's Andrew Kelly taking another knee on the far side. In any case, Fairfield will go right back to the EMO. So Fairfield group used to scoring under Andrew Baxter. They've led the league in scoring and offense in 2 of his first 4 years. Tim Curlin serving the penalty. In the end for Lehigh, offside the call against Lehigh. So it's a quick 30 and another shot wide. Another left-handed rip from that opposite side. John Akupski searching for his first collegiate goal. Shot 10 and a scoreless first period today at Rafferty Stadium. Akupski again, and Nick Pecora there one more time. The senior from New York, who made 12 saves against this Fairfield team in his first career start a year ago and got the win for Lehigh 20-10. 7 seconds to clear. It's going to be a race for Ironman that he wins. Still 2 men around him, and Dakota Ironman getting hounded in the midfield, pressed back, and then finally escapes to Amato. Down under a minute to go here in this first quarter of the season for Fairfield. Joe Costantino, junior out of the second midfield out there. He's played in 25 games now off the bench over the last few years defending. There's Ryan Lancaster matched up as Lehigh decides to take it down to the final possession here of this opening quarter. Tyler Lehigh scored last week at Rutgers, working from X this time. Lehigh on Lancaster, early slide, got it away. The delay in the score, and Lehigh, with 9 seconds to go in this opening period, is finally on the board. And of course, it's Scott Cole. Captain, preseason offensive player of the year. Saw Eli Adams go the other way. They left him alone, and more often than not, when he's that close to the net with not that many men around him, he's going to do exactly what he did. Man who scored 49 times a year ago, twice last week, has his first of the day. And Lehigh's on the board. It'll be a big pile up here at the end of this opening quarter. That'll do it. Well, it took 14 minutes and 51 seconds for somebody to get on the board, but Lehigh in the end does exactly that, and it is 1-0 in favor of Lehigh after 15 minutes down, 1 goal so far here at Rafferty Stadium. 1-0 lead for Lehigh. Scott Cole gets on the board with 9 seconds to go in the opening frame. Cooper Boardman back with you. Wyatt Dossie leading our outstanding Fairfield crew here today. And Lehigh on a long ball is going to give this one away. Sean Dow picked up the ground ball. Fogo did his job and then I think just ran out of time in his brain, just overthrew Nick Pecora, and Fairfield ends up with a possession on the 6th Lehigh turnover. And it starts the second quarter. Fairfield had 2 EMOs in the opening period. Failed to score on each of them. Rob Moore to the middle and a score. Pretty feed to Jake Gilbert. And after it took nearly 15 minutes for anyone to score, we've had 2 goals in the last 45 seconds. And here it is, the assist from Moore to Gilbert. Turn and burn. And Jake Gilbert, who scored 7 times in 13 games a season ago, the former high school All-American, has the first goal of his sophomore season. Tied at 1, 30 seconds down in this second quarter. Now back to the face-off spot. This was also, as it always is, a place that we had our eyes on coming in. Felt like there was going to be a big opportunity for wing play to play a factor. It did there. You saw the hit from Jack Thistle, and Lehigh gets the possession as a result of it. Sean Dow makes right up for it. So Lehigh team that got 65% of their possessions a year ago, courtesy of Mike Sisselberger, who was best face-off man in America over the last few years. Out of the PLL and so on, but that was one of the bigger questions. This is a Lehigh team offensively last year. They got 65% of their possessions and led the conference in shooting percentage at 34%. Armstrong whizzed that one wide. And it will be on Sean Dow, who went 10 of 24 at Rutgers on Saturday. Matt Brock, who spelled him in relief. Andrew Kelly, question marking on Kelly, gets back on him and scores. Wow, Andrew Kelly with the slide of his feet to his left puts Lehigh right back on top. Now, this is somebody in Kelly, you saw it a week ago, who's taken a big jump between last year and this. He didn't start a game a year ago. He scored the first 2 goals of Lehigh's season last week against Rutgers on the way to a career-high 4, and he's on the board once again. The second goal of the day, so 1 for Cole and 1 for Kelly. And back to the face-off spot. Lehigh's taken 3 out of the first 4. Dow did turn it over on 1, and Dow's got it again, and that time a much more calm pass to his defensive third. Fairfield's ride aggressive. First time that Lehigh's had to clear in full. Off the face-off, 6 seconds. Pecora's just got to wing it down to the other end, and he does. Connected to Kelly, and he gets it back in the left corner. Pecora looked like maybe he was winding up to take a shot with the full 10-man ride. Snyder out of his net. And Lehigh does clear. 7 for their first 7 on the clear here today after their 4th out of 5 face-off wins for Sean Dow, top 25 recruit in his junior season. Quick shot to score for Lehigh. Brian Mullen got his hands free, and the first year delivers his first goal. Right around the bend, big, tall, left-hand player. Right around, and not much on the opposite of the stick side for Will Snyder to do about it. Lehigh team, as we said, a year ago, they led the league in Patriot League. That's a great league, led by Army, Navy, Loyola BU. And, of course, Lehigh, as a face-off win comes for Dylan Smith. He's got 3 brown jerseys around him. He was nearly falling out of bounds, did get it away, and it's settled by Will Snyder. Fairfield is in need of an early big clear here off the face-off. Snyder looking, he's got 4 seconds to get it over and does exactly that. Smart play there by the sophomore. His calm showing itself. Feet to the middle, Akupski. And that time Nick Pecora equal to the task. Pecora, who was recruited pretty heavily by Will Scudder when he was the associate head coach under Kevin Cassis, who has since moved on. 7 games over his first couple of years, became the starter last year to the tune of a .515 save percentage. And Lehigh back the other way, looking to take a 3-goal lead. Tyler Lehigh. Cole on the reverse to Kelly. Back to Cole. Dodging out of the midfield this time. Seen him all over the map and now back below at X. See if he gets a screen. He's matched up with Matt Rice. He's got the short stick on him. Cole off the spin. Cole gets free and jumped it over the net. Backed up by Tyler Lehigh. That is a couple of times over the first now just about 20 minutes of this first half of the first portion of this season for Fairfield, where Scott Cole has gotten an opportunity against a short stick. Once they left him alone, he scored Lehigh's first goal that way. Shot clock is down to 15 for Lehigh. Amato, fake the load up, a drive, and once again, Will Snyder in front of it. That one from outside against Ironman, but Snyder turns it over. Bouncing ball, first big ground ball battle, and the possession saved by Bryce Ford. What else is new? A man who scored so much a year ago, was one of the best guys in terms of picking up ground balls in the midfield. And Fairfield, who was second in the conference in ground balls per game a year ago, picks up the biggest one of this early season. Second liners back out there. Cambarasano, senior captain from Massachusetts. 12 in white. 14 in white, that is, still with it. Gets a screen from Akupski. Jake Gilbert got a step. Gilbert bounced it, didn't get his full might behind it. The race for the sideline is won by Lehigh. Luke McAuliffe, the sophomore, at 6 foot plus a long pole. Five shots on target to this point for Lehigh. They have scored on 3 of those 5. 3 different scores as well. Mullen, Cole, and Kelly. Grant Rodney scored last week and had his shot affected from behind. Cole on the backup for Lehigh. Who came in, picked to finish 5th in the conference. Cole to the slot, a bouncer over the net once again. Vasile got his hands free. Backed up again by Scott Cole. Scored quite a bit, but was also the leading assist man on the team a year ago. That time got physical, did Cole. He jumps it in, but he fell into the goalie's area. Wave it off, wouldn't have mattered anyway. And Fairfield right back over the line the other way. That's a Lehigh offense. And Lehigh put up 12 on Rutgers on Saturday. They put up 7 in the opening half and 5 in the first quarter. And Fairfield's defense, led by Danny Manning, led by Eli Adams, Rob Moore out of the midfield as well, has been in the thick of it, is off to a very, very good start in the first half of their 2024 season. Will Consoli had that ejected from his stick, and once again, it's picked up by Lehigh. McAuliffe lost it, a race to the corner, and Pecora all the way out of his net somehow stayed in play despite the check from Bryce Ford. Procaccini by 1 man, Procaccini by 2, and the clear again successful. An 11 for 11 start for Lehigh after they went 17 of 18 in the clearing game a week ago, and they call timeout with 8:06 to go here in the second quarter. So Lehigh's lead 3-1 with 2 goals here in this second quarter. You look at it from the scoring perspective. 5 shots on target for Lehigh, scored on 3 of them. Fairfield just 1 for their first 6. Nick Pecora has been very good for Lehigh to this point with 5 saves. A couple of saves for Will Snyder early on, although a couple that have gotten by him have really not been much, too much about him to this point. But this is, it does have the feeling of an early season lacrosse game where both teams, usually in the first quarter, first couple of quarters, there is a feeling out process among opponents, and it does feel as though there is also a bit of a feeling out process internally for each of these two. These are 2 programs, again, we said off the top, Will Scudder takes over for Kevin Cassis, first year for Lehigh, as Cassis, departs to join Lars Tiffany and that Virginia staff, and Scudder, who is beloved in this program, beloved on the campus of Lehigh in Bethlehem, and beloved by the guys in this locker room that have stayed with him and stayed around him and played very well a week ago. But they were somewhat of an unknown coming in, was Lehigh. They come in, they play Rutgers very tough on the road. And Fairfield on the other side, for the first time in the history of Andrew Baxter's tenure, in year number 5 because of the COVID seasons and everything that went along with that, these guys right here are his recruits for the first time as the head coach of Fairfield. And so there's so much not known about them as well. We've got freshmen that have already made significant impacts. We've seen John Akupski, the brother of Luke, the freshman, in there quite a bit. We've seen Jake Coleman take a step working from X, and defensively they're off to a good start. They've been asked to do a lot possession-wise after what has been 6 early turnovers for Fairfield offensively that has led to yet another Lehigh possession. Freddie Amato starts it out of the Lehigh timeout. They ran for Cole, and his shot was knocked away by Eli Adams. Good defensive play by the sophomore from the Rochester area, former high school All-American. Scott Cole has had the ball in his stick more often than not. Saw a short stick on him and isolates Costantino. Scott Cole against the shorty. Scott Cole scores! Little hit after the play as well. That kind of game so far. Scott Cole takes the harm but the goal, and Lehigh's lead is back to 3. Second of the day for the preseason All-American. We saw it too. Cole got up asking maybe a call there, although he had about half an inch of airspace after that left his stick. So 4-1 start, and all of a sudden, 7:35 mark of this second quarter, a violation against Fairfield and Dylan Smith. And Lehigh has an opportunity perhaps to tighten the knot around this game here in this second quarter. Four for 6 start for Lehigh. Grant Rodney. Cole once again running him in the screening game to try to get the switch, and they get it once again. That's a Shane Elliott, the freshman, matched up with Cole as the shorty behind the net. Wonder if the early slide will come. It does. He gets it away, and that sets up a big save for Will Snyder jumping left. Oh, Cole had his defender in the blender. They needed a save from Snyder, and he gets it. E.J. Vasile stood up, and now the clear. Difficult right now for Fairfield. Matt Rice getting crushed, and he runs through the turnstiles to clear for Fairfield. And a timeout for Andrew Baxter. So Lehigh uses theirs. Will Scudder took a moment. And now Baxter will bring his guys over. And he knows the importance of this possession. I mean, yeah, under 7 to go in the second quarter, but Lehigh's ripped off a few goals in a row, 3 straight here in this second quarter after Fairfield tied it to begin the second. And this becomes a pretty significant opportunity for Fairfield who of their 6 shots on goal has just put 1 past Nick Pecora. Again, this is a group that's used to scoring, right? Andrew Baxter led the league in scoring 2 of the first 4 years. Last year, tapered off a little bit, right around 12 per game. But this is a program, especially under Baxter, that over the last few years has piled up a ton of shots on goal. They've played with pace, but the issue for them is on their end, they've turned it over 6 times, forced 3 Lehigh turnovers at 8 total against Lehigh, but they've just not found themselves in significant opportunity to go the other way with some speed. Something they talked about off the top, right? Can you work in transition? This is interesting. You look at Lehigh. This is a team that played Rutgers last week, and Rutgers is known for its big, fast-paced, as they call it, Lamborghini offense. Rutgers slowed it down against them. Had to speed it up a little bit to come back from an early deficit, 5-2 after 1, to tie it up at halftime. But it was half-field goals. Fairfield felt like they could go faster perhaps than Rutgers did in this game. They've not yet seen the opportunity to do that, though Bryce Ford and company of really, again, just not seen kind of the glimmer to get there to this point. But out of the Fairfield timeout, they have it. Down by 3, 6.5 under that to go in the opening half of the season here at Rafferty Stadium. They put it in Ford's stick out of that timeout. Look, McAuliffe on him. Feed down to the left-hand side. Oh, that rang the bar. A drive from Will Consoli, man who scored 24 times a year ago. Inches from another. They get it right back to him. Consoli diving off the side of the net. Did he fall in the goaltender's crease? He did. He fell in the goal mouth, and Lehigh clears easily. Fairfield set it up the way they wanted. Will Consoli had his look. Saw it a second ago. And Lehigh currently with its largest lead of the day at 3, searching for more. Andrew Kelly slices by a man, drew an early slide, got it away to the back post. Big stand up by Will Snyder again. Point blank on the freshman Brian Mullen, looking for his second. Snyder allowed a few by, a couple of good shots by Cole as well, but these last few possessions, he has kept Fairfield very much in this game. Now we'll see if the offense on this end can pick up its end. Jason LeMay, sophomore midi. 2 games a year ago in his freshman season. Second liners out there. They isolate Ford. He's matched up with Vasile. Coleman, he's been quiet. Heard so much about him in the preseason. Played so well in the scrimmages against Yale and against Hobart. From behind, another one right in the body of Pecora, and an easy save on Riley Sullivan. Sixth save for Nick Pecora. Shot clock down under 50. Plenty of time for Lehigh. Lehigh group that has had 6 consecutive winning seasons. They're 5-1 in the 2020 season, which of course was abruptly stopped short. Nice try there and a nice goal for Grant Rodney, falling down, and it did not seem to matter for Lehigh's 5th. First of the day for Rodney, as he got by Joe Costantino. And so Lehigh, who got up early a week ago, 5-2 after one against Rutgers. They've got the early hold on this game by 4. Face-off violation against Sean Dow. Dylan Smith gets Fairfield the possession. And the Stags right back to it. And it's the same movie, right? How do you find a way? As John Akupski, freshman in his first collegiate game out there. Off to Rob Moore, who assisted the first goal. Back to Akupski. Lefty deals it right. Jake Gilbert. Uchitorena all over him. Kind of look around offensively for Fairfield. Okay, how do you find the matchup you want? Consoli, he's got a short stick right now. Got an early slide, but overshot the pass. Came right to Pecora. Bouncing ball that Pecora picks up. A ground ball for the goaltender, though he threw it away. And now the race is on. Lehigh trying to save it, and they can't. Consoli jumped right over Procaccini. Good sportsmanship to help him up on the sideline. And with 2:47 to go in the second quarter, another timeout. So timeout Lehigh in the dead ball situation. A really interesting second quarter. I mean, you play a first quarter where no one really offensively had much, and a little bit more about the defenses where they dug in. Lehigh scores with 9 seconds to go in the opening frame. 1-0 lead after one, and then in this second quarter, after Fairfield tied it right around 30 seconds into the second, it has really just been Lehigh from that point. Fairfield is going on nearly 11, 12 minutes since they've last scored. And an opportunity here for Andrew Baxter, right? Preaching positivity. Lehigh on the other side, Will Scudder taking over for Kevin Cassis. And you look at Lehigh a week ago, they were in that game against a Rutgers team that is a championship weekend caliber team, an NCAA tournament team without a question. There are a lot of questions about Lehigh. You lose Sisselberger, a guy that has obviously been the most dominant face-off man in college lacrosse, maybe since T.D. Erlin, and you lose Christian Moulet, who again has been excellent for Syracuse, a couple of other guys, but the guys they have in this program right now have really been outstanding. They have a lot of belief, obviously, in a guy like Scott Cole, who was the offensive player of the year in the league a year ago, but Quinn Armstrong and Andrew Kelly and Grant Rodney, there's a lot of talent on this roster offensively among a number of other guys. And it is one of the reasons why they are the only team in the Patriot League to go to 10 consecutive conference tournaments because, guys move on and the names change, but this is a program that has been an institution in terms of collegiate lacrosse success over the last decade plus. And they are on defense. The freshman once again out of the midfield. He's got a short stick on him as Fairfield searches these troubled waters for a little bit of offense. Another pass just too hard towards the restraining line. Can Gilbert save it? He did, but he gives it right back. And Richard Checo goes the other way. Checo, back check from behind. Will Consoli stick to take it away. And now maybe Fairfield can run. The ride was there, and finally they clear. Julian Radicic right off for Bryce Ford, and Fairfield right back on offense. Passing has perhaps not been as crisp as Fairfield is used to. Bryce Ford, who led the team in assists a year ago with one that was a little bit too strong a moment ago. But now Moore on the deal to the left for Consoli. Gets a step on Checo, went low, and Nick Pecora down to claim it again. Quick outlet ahead. Checo clears for Lehigh and waits for a man to find and does with E.J. Vasile. And under 2 to go in the second quarter. Game clock down to $1:35. The shot clock down to 65. And Lehigh, if they want to, can take this down nearly to the end of the first half with a 4-goal lead and perhaps counting for Will Scudder's team. First line back out there. Armstrong to the middle and a score for E.J. Vasile. Bounced it home to make it 6 for Lehigh in the opening half. Armstrong this time to the middle And Vasile, who did not score in a couple of games for the freshman a year ago, now as a sophomore, scored last week and scores for Lehigh, his first of the day. So 6 goals for Lehigh, 5 different goal scorers. Now once again, Fairfield in need of possession. Clean win, Dylan Smith. He barrels down the alley and decides to drop it right off to Jake Coleman, who takes it behind cage. Fairfield could hold for the last shot of this second quarter. Down by 5 with nearing a minute to go. In the opening half, at Rafferty Stadium, great crowd on hand, good vibes around, a lot of smiles as we walked in here today. And Lehigh taking their game on the road from a week ago for the second time in as many weeks, playing very well in the first half. Jason LeMay, sophomore, seen a lot of run here in this opening half. Luke Akupski, 25 seconds to go. Akupski got ahead of steam. Drew sliding, got it away. On the reversal to Coleman. Space for Gilbert. Gets his hands free right. 3 men around him. 10 seconds. 7 seconds. Could it be Bryce Ford? 3 seconds. Ford missed the net. 1.7. It'll take a quick toss. Consoli to the middle. Caught and, oh, off the bar. Took a jump from Akupski to get it on net. And that is how the opening half ends. Well, 1 goal in the first quarter. In the end, in this second quarter, it is Lehigh that takes control. And at the end of 1 half of play, 6-1 Lehigh.
Welcome to Fairfield University. Join us for a tour of our beautiful 200-acre campus. Prominently located in the center of campus, the Campus Center is the hub of student activity. Whether you're grabbing a bite to eat or a cup of coffee before class, attending an organizational meeting, or just coming to relax, the Campus Center has just what you need. Located on the top floor of the Campus Center is the university's main dining hall, the Tully. Students can customize their plates to meet their unique tastes or dietary needs with comfort foods, vegetarian dishes, and delicious hearty entrees. You will always discover something new at the Tully.
Need to grab food fast? The Stag Snack Bar has you covered for lunch on the run or stocking up on your favorite snacks. If you need a quick energy boost before class, grab a coffee to go at Dunkin'. When it's time to show off your school spirit, head down to the Spirit Shop to pick up some Stag swag. There's something for every student to get involved in here at Fairfield. No day is complete without a visit to the Campus Center.
The Recplex is an integral part of student life here at Fairfield, and just one example of the great resources Fairfield provides for its students. The elevated indoor track, large cardio and weight training spaces, aquatic center, and interchangeable basketball, tennis, and volleyball courts make the Recplex the perfect place for Stags to challenge themselves and have fun. The Recplex is also home to Fairfield.
Located at the high point of the university, Bellarmine Hall is the most recognizable building on campus. This historic English manor is home to the University Art Museum, featuring 3 distinct galleries and ranked among the most amazing college museums in the U.S. The Fairfield University Art Museum is open to the public and serves to enhance the teaching of art history and humanities at Fairfield.
The Regina A. Quick Center for the Arts serves as a vibrant hub of creative and educational events and programs for both the university and the surrounding community. It includes a state-of-the-art theater, smaller black box theater space, and the Thomas J. Walsh Art Gallery, which holds exhibitions of modern and contemporary art. The Quick Center is well known in the community as a place to gather for unique experiences, both artistic and educational.
While there's so much happening on campus, downtown Fairfield is only a quick walk away. Fairfield University is located in Fairfield, Connecticut, a charming, quintessential New England town situated along the Long Island Sound. The historic downtown area is home to the university bookstore, popular restaurants, shops, galleries, parks, town beaches, and the train station to New Haven and New York City.
As a Jesuit university rooted in Ignatian identity, the Egan Chapel is a welcoming place for students of all faiths. Students have the opportunity to participate in a large variety of activities hosted by campus ministry, such as retreats, community service projects, and international and domestic immersion experiences. Campus ministry also provides on-campus spiritual enrichment, including daily and weekend masses.
The Domena Nicelius Library is a welcoming space to study, collaborate, and find resources for success in the classroom and beyond. Students take advantage of the dedicated quiet areas to prepare for tests, write papers, and do research. Group study rooms can be reserved for study sessions, group projects, and meetings. Located on the main floor, the Academic Commons is home to individual centers focused on helping students meet the challenges of college academics. Here you can also find the ITS Help Desk for technical support for both Windows and Macintosh computers, assistance with wireless connectivity, and software support. And when you need a break from your hard work, the Library Cafe is located just off the main lobby.
Welcome to the Quad, home to 7 traditional style residence halls for freshmen and sophomore students. The Quad is a central gathering space for living, learning, and having fun. Each residence hall hosts common lounges, and some even feature classrooms, so students don't have to go far for class. Because Fairfield guarantees housing for all 4 years, upperclassmen have plenty of living spaces to choose from. Suite-style residence halls, apartments, and townhomes are available on campus, but upperclassmen also have the unique opportunity to live off campus by Fairfield Beach.
The central hub of Fairfield Stags Athletics is at the northeast corner of campus. These facilities support student athletes, coaches, and fans, and are frequent hosts to conference championships, concerts, and campus events.
Visiting us at Fairfield University is the best way to get a sense for everything we have to offer. Come see it for yourself.
Welcome back to Rafferty Stadium in Fairfield, where Lehigh has the lead at the half. Good start for the Mountain Hawks, searching for their first win of the season, and they lead 6-1 through 30 minutes of play here today. Cooper Boardman back with you, Wyatt Dossie leading our crew, Carlton Best and Kelly Bolton here as well, and our entire Fairfield crew doing an outstanding job in the opening weekend of college lacrosse here in Fairfield. And really, as you look at this first half, what's funny about it, we've got 7 goals on the board. 6 of the 7 goals came in the second quarter between each of these two teams. In the opening period, it took 14 minutes, 51 seconds before that, the goal from Scott Cole. And from that point on, after Fairfield scored 30 seconds or so into the second quarter, it was all Lehigh. 6 different players with goals in the, or 5 different players for 6 total goals. Andrew Kelly off the dodge there. And what they did in this first quarter was a couple of things. They got Scott Cole against short stick matchups, and they had big shooters from the outside, including this, the first collegiate goal for Brian Mullen. This was Cole against a shorty, and more often than not, that's what you're going to see for the preseason Offensive Player of the Year after winning that award a year ago in the Patriot League. Grant Rodney, one of the players that has jumped into their attack after leading freshman in scoring a year ago. And then how about Quinn Armstrong on the feed by E.J. Vasile. Will Snyder for Fairfield made some big saves down the stretch of the second quarter to keep this closer for this Fairfield group than perhaps it could have been. But even so, it has really been a Lehigh team. And look, this is a top-quality Lehigh team out of the Patriot League that if you were going to put your money on if they're going to be better than being 5th in the conference, I think what they've done now over the first 3 halves of their season would imply that, yeah, they're going to be much better than that. And, well, we'll see how this all shakes out. But certainly this is a big, long path ahead for Fairfield in this second half. Offensively for Fairfield, you look at the numbers, they took in total 8 shots on goal, 4 saves by Nick Pecora, and 1 total score. For Lehigh, 10 shots on goal. They got 7 saves from Nick Pecora, that is, and despite 4 saves from Will Snyder, 6 found the back of the net for Lehigh, 5 of them in the second quarter. So, hey, we'll see the second half for this Fairfield team that, again, came in touting its grit, touting its toughness. And for a team last year that finished 5-9 overall, game below 500 in the conference, 1 spot out of the CAA's postseason. These are not games that matter in the sense of result as much. Obviously, you always want to help your tournament resume and all of the above, but these are games to learn about yourselves and learn about yourself really as you come into what will be conference play soon. Fairfield will have a continuously difficult non-conference slate. They'll play North Carolina in Maryland next week before they come back to Fairfield to face Sacred Heart, Wagner, and Providence before they get into Coastal Athletic Association play. But not to put more than is necessary on these next couple of quarters. These are big 2 quarters for Andrew Baxter's group as they come in down by 5 goals. Lehigh has been the dominant force in possession. Sean Dow wins another faceoff and continues that trend. Faceoffs are 6-4 in favor of Lehigh, but they've had plenty more of offensive opportunities, obviously, considering just the 1 goal on 13 offensive trips now for Fairfield. First possession of the second half begins with Quinn Armstrong, who had an assist in the opening period. One of 7 different Lehigh Mountain Hawks to have a point in the first period. Grant Rodney is one of those as well. First touch for Aiden Decker of this second half, dodging out of the midfield. Decker gets inside and barely kept his feet off the high dive. Drew a penalty, though. Free possession for Lehigh. Cole's got it and sets it right back up. Scott Cole got it away, and a big shot over the top bar from Armstrong. And now another flag comes in. Referee Tim Lutzinger, umpire Alfred Pugh, and the field judge John Kress. There was a call against Fairfield initially, and then at the last moment after that play ended, another flag flew on the far side. We'll get the announcement in just a moment. And either way, this is not first minute and 1 second. Looks like some kind of misconduct against Fairfield. Unquestionably, Lehigh will have an opportunity on the EMO. Will they go 2 men up? Find out in a moment. It's Eli Adams on a knee on the far side, shaking his head in frustration. Also should be a shot clock reset. So they get it all sorted out, but a 6-1 lead for Lehigh. Their first possession of the second half of play. And they will go to the man advantage. Still have not yet scored on their EMO opportunities this season. Just a couple of them to this point. So they got now 2.5 minutes of time against Eli Adams. So it's an unreleasable penalty, so they got unnecessary roughness and then some kind of 30-second for pushing into the crease. So this is an opportunity. Lehigh, who has been, again, very good in this game, is in the battle for it near the restraining line. Lehigh called for a hold, and Fairfield gets a big start to this second half after 2.5 minutes of unreleasable penalty time. Now down to 2 minutes. Fairfield clears, and they will kill off as much of this as possible. Lehigh will have an extra man on this pressure. Checo in there. Ocha Terena in there as well. They're going to put it, Fairfield will, with Jake Gilbert, who's penned into that corner. Face guards the rest of the way. Gilbert just holding it. Gilbert getting shoved around along the sideline. Just threw it up for grabs. And the goaltender, Nick Pecora, is going to track it down. Fairfield's ride set itself. They're down a man on the ride. 1.5 minutes to go on the EMO for Lehigh. They clear with ease. Kellen Mathias over the line. And Lehigh back on the extra man. Unreleasable penalty for the next 1:15 seconds. And a 5-goal deficit for the men in white for Fairfield. Lehigh runs a second line out there. Ironman touches it down to Decker, who gets it back. Ironman has it. Andrew Kelly working it around. Decker, Ironman. Knocked out again. Good defensive play, but a ground ball pickup by Ironman. Braden Lynch made the initial play, but now it's free with 40 seconds to go on the EMO. Pass knocked down. Fairfield's got it again. Danny Manning off the pickup. Good defensive play by a couple of men in there, led by Julian Radicic. 8 seconds to clear for Fairfield. Down to 5 seconds. And a spin by Matt Rice takes it into the attacking third. 15 seconds to go on the Fairfield kill. And they have their eyes on even strength now. 2.5 minutes of an unreleasable penalty with Lehigh up by 5 goals to start the second half. And Fairfield gets step 1 down. There it goes. Even strength lacrosse now, and Fairfield on the offensive attack. So not the 2.5 minutes that Andrew Baxter maybe envisioned, but from that point on, they've done everything necessary. Now it's time to go see if you can score. 8 shots on target. Only one of them has beaten Nick Pecora. A lot of shots in the body. This one's low, and he got down to make the save on Will Consoli. Now, Pecora has just continued to be excellent. First career start. He got a win against Fairfield a year ago. He made 10 saves against Rutgers last week, and the senior does it once again. I mean, he has seen 9 shots and stopped 8 of them. A couple of times has gone down below towards earth to keep it out, that is. Amato inside. Mullen bouncer and a save on the other end for Will Snyder. Went down to pitchfork that one. One thing Lehigh has done all day is their ride has been really good. It hasn't been aggressive. It hasn't forced turnovers as much. Fairfield's 13 out of 14 on the clear, but it has slowed the attack. Andrew Baxter talked about it, the idea that maybe they could get into the attacking third a little bit faster and potential for some unsettled opportunities. But Lehigh's ride has set up in its spot pretty much immediately. Quick shot from the left side. That got Pecora, and it got Barr. And for the third time in this game, Fairfield has found iron as Lehigh closest to it on the race by Matthias. And Lehigh once again walks it in over the line. So much pressure on this Fairfield defensive unit. 17 possessions off of clears for Lehigh. So this is their 18th possession of the day. They've turned it over 12 times. They've scored 6 times. Hunter Palunky, the freshman, his first collegiate action. Scott Cole from X had that pass affected, and that's picked out of the air by Snyder. Out jumped Peter Theodoropoulos. And now Lancaster on the other way. One man to beat, and he gets by a second. Takes a hack from Kelly, and Lancaster still hasn't been picked up yet. Got to get Bryce Ford rolling, right? Leading scorer. But he has not had a lot of space. Long pulls, and then in the occasional moment that he's had a short stick on him, he's been pressured like that. Another errant pass, another one back to the restraining line, and a push allowed Fairfield to get possession back. Procaccini must have stepped over. Now Fairfield comes right back the other way. Big break for Fairfield. Akupski back out of the box. Back low for Coleman. Still looking for something out of Jake Coleman. 5 games a year ago, 3 goals, was so good in the preseason for Fairfield. They know he will be excellent for them this season. Yet to score today. To be fair, Fairfield hasn't really had very many opportunities. Gilbert has the lone goal. Moore had the assist on it, but nothing from Coleman and nothing from Ford. And Fairfield stepped in the crease. That was Coleman. Giovanni Procaccini. So 7.5 to go in this third quarter, and a third that has resembled the first quarter, which did not see a goal until the final 30 seconds. And neither team yet to score here in this third quarter. Early season lacrosse, right? Trying to get your feet under you, figure it out. Lehigh has done that to this point. Armstrong. When Armstrong scored 18 as a sophomore in 2022. Injury limited him last year. Took a shot there. .30 seconds to go on the Lehigh shot clock. Second line midfield out there. Rodney playing out of the midfield this time. Started on attack. Got Cole working down from the wing as Armstrong sets it. Fakes the pass. Cole once again. Speeding it around. Rodney. Armstrong, 3 seconds. Someone's got to shoot it. Rodney. And off some bodies in front. And Fairfield takes possession. Lehigh was just working it around and a little bit too methodical on that offensive possession. Joe Costantino over the restraining line. Fairfield is 1 for 9, trying to find a way to solve Nick Pecora. Now it's Consoli. And another hit. That time Kellen Matthias closed the space. Matt Rice turning and burned that one wide. I think if you were to say to Andrew Baxter that he was going to play more than 2.5 quarters, Consoli, Ford, and Coleman would all be held off the score sheet. Be difficult to win this game. Some space in that one, I think, went off a helmet. Riley Sullivan came free. Lefty put it on it, and a dive gets Lehigh possession back. Nick Pecora, nowhere near his crease, making a play at a dive to the sideline. Lehigh's lead stays 6-1. I mean, outside of one open man in the slot today on the feed to Jake Gilbert, that has been it for a Lehigh defense led by Timmy Curlin, Luke McAuliffe, and Raul Ocha-Terrena. Now unsettled. Some space inside. That was checked from behind. Kelly lost it, and Fairfield takes over. And to be fair to the Fairfield defense, for the duress that they have been in all day long, they played very well. Right back in. Moore goes to goal. And that time fed that one into Pecora. First time it's been fast break city for Fairfield. And Pecora has had the answers once again. Former high school football player in the New York State. Recruited to Lehigh a few years ago, and now as a senior in his second year as a starter, showing that toughness. Freddie Amato, senior out of Florida to Ironman, who wound that one wide. There's just not been a lot of space for them to shoot as well. Rory Thompson, the junior, that time, long pole on the closeout. Fairfield has rotated bodies in defensively. They've been on defense so much they've had to. 21st possession of the day for Lehigh. 4 to go in the third. Pass from X. Amato pulls it down. Ironman on the spin. Ironman gets inside and bounced that one on Snyder, who once again closed the 5-hole. Flag flies in the ground ball battle. And it's been this kind of day. Well, Snyder makes a big-time save, one-on-one with Ironman, and then a shove in the battle for the ball will put Lehigh on the extra man once again for the second time in this third quarter. Now, Snyder was recognized for, you look at the goals, saves per game, he was right around 11.5 per game. His goals against average was at 13, but, conference recognized him for how good he was. All-rookie team a year ago, best freshman goaltender in the Coastal Athletic Association. And early in this first game of the season, same deal. Seen a lot of shots. Couple went by in the opening period, but largely speaking, he's been really good, and so is the defense in terms of shot quality ahead of him. EMO for the next 40 seconds, being served by Luke Akupski. Unnecessary roughness. Fairfield, a team that wants to be loud, wants to show its toughness. It's hurt them a little bit as this goes off the side of the net. I think Andrew Baxter would take it. In terms of setting the mentality for the year. Snyder picks it up, gets it ahead. Fairfield on the clear, down a man. The ride by Cole. Still plenty of time to get it over. Lancaster does exactly that. Lancaster speeding down the sideline, turns the corner, and settles it back down. Akupski's penalty time is over. Fairfield is back on offense. Neither team has scored in the third quarter. And we are still stuck on the 6-1 halftime score. Nineteenth possession of the day for Fairfield, and just the one goal. Jason LeMay, sophomore, working from behind the net. He's got a short stick on him. Take advantage. Procaccini defending. LeMay comes topside, and LeMay again bounced it over the net. That time the backup there, courtesy of Coleman. Wondered if Coleman would draw a long pole. He is one of the attackmen, so you'd expect him to, but maybe you thought he could get some favorable matchups. They've had a long stick on him the entire day. Timmy Curlin, one of their best defenders, has been all over him. Moore this time floated that one wide, and it bounces out of play. The 12th Fairfield turnover, and Lehigh forces its 8th on the other end. Down under 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. He played 14 minutes, 51 seconds, first goal of the first quarter. And this is the same third quarter as we saw in the opening frame. Defender is hung up here. Andrew Kelly behind the net. Kelly waiting, and he'll just be a feeder. Now he starts his move, fake left, fake right, stays behind, and comes to upside. Really good defensive work and mental work by Danny Manning. Rodney Ironman wide, and Fairfield's got the possession on a Joe Costantino dive. Minute 4 seconds to go. Nobody scored in the quarter. Fairfield has a key possession and perhaps an opportunity to turn the tide of this game the other way. It starts with Jake Coleman. Went away from the screen. Took a high hit from Curlin. Ford got a screen, but half-hearted one, and the pass back to Luka Kupski. They run Riley Sullivan on, who's not been shy to shoot. Wilton, Connecticut kid. Started at Boston University, now at Fairfield. Takes it down behind X. He's got a short stick on him. That's Bo Horvath, the freshman. Sullivan down to Coleman. Some space for Kupski. Gets to his right. Clock down to 13 seconds to go. Shot clock not a factor. 10 seconds. Scott Cole. He's got a shorty on him finally. Gets inside. Flips it down. Coleman got him moving. Back up top. Akupski scores! Picture perfect possession, and Luke Akupski pays it off for the first goal of the third quarter with 2 seconds to go in it. Cole will get a hockey assist. Coleman will get an actual assist, and Akupski gets his first goal of the year on that. Nick Pecora finally beaten for the first time in more than 28 minutes. And Fairfield gets a big goal to end. That'll do it for the third quarter. And so, Fairfield right back in this, still a 4-goal deficit. They hold Lehigh, though, scoreless in the third quarter. They get a Luka Kupski goal, and we got a good fourth quarter coming up. 6-2 game. Well, Andrew Baxter and the Fairfield Stags talk so much as a team about if strangers showed up to the game, what would they say about our team? Well, they would hope that they would see a team that was loud, a team that had some grit, fight, all the above, right? Well, if you strolled into this game randomly and started watching it, it's maybe not been the prettiest game to watch over the course of 3 quarters, but you've seen a Fairfield team continue to fight, and really in this third quarter, ground the game to a halt. They score with less than 3 seconds to go. The only goal between the two teams in the third quarter. Now all of a sudden, very much within this game. 4-goal game as we start the fourth quarter. Lehigh still with the lead. It was 6-1 at the half. Now it's 6-2. And a push against Fairfield. Dylan Smith knocked down Sean Dow. Gives Lehigh the first possession of this fourth and final scheduled quarter. Lehigh, to be fair, only gave up 1 goal in the third quarter. 20 for 21 on clears. There have only been now 12 faceoffs in the game. Lehigh's got 8 of them, and they turned it over just on 1 of those. And they start on offense, trying to respond. Quinn Armstrong with it to Scott Cole. He scored twice, the leading scorer in the game, the leading scorer on the Lehigh Mountain Hawks from a year ago, has got a short stick on him. He has eaten the short sticks up all day long. Got a slide, spins back to his left and bounced it through the crease. A race for the end line, a dive for Fairfield, and a possession courtesy of Julian Radicic. And again, most of the first 3 quarters were not the prettiest thing in the whole world for Fairfield. But the last 2 minutes of game time between a stop and the score, and now a stop on the other end out of the quarter break, it has been exactly to a dream for Andrew Baxter. And now trying to get a 4th possession in a row to go their way. On a feed to the middle and a shot again, eaten up by Pecora. Low high on the feed to the slot to Matt Rice, and Nick Pecora stays great. Though the clearing game an issue, Fairfield turns it over, unsettled. Coleman gets by 1. Coleman missed the net. Fairfield there to back it up. Just the second failed clear of the day for Lehigh. And Coleman had a golden look to make it a 3-goal game. Still, though, 60 seconds on the shot clock. Will Consoli charging on. He gets a step. Consoli loads up and scores. Absolute ripper. And Fairfield's within 3 on back-to-back goals. You could see Consoli coming out of the midfield. Got a step. Made Lehigh match up. No one did. Catch. And an easy finish. High-low for the rookie in the year in the conference a year ago. At a game for a lot of the day that was quiet on the Fairfield side. All of a sudden, Andrew Baxter's group right back in it. They get the possession on the violation against Lehigh, and they have a chance for the first time since the second quarter to put themselves within 2 goals. Consoli scored 24 times a year ago. It felt like he was probably going to draw the top pole today. And he has, and he gets a big goal there as Rob Moore falling down, missed the net. Coleman there to back it up. He said it in the third quarter. If you were to say to Andrew Baxter that his top guys, Consoli wasn't going to be in the thick of it very much. Cole maybe not as much, or Ford that is. As Consoli fielded it now, he gets inside, and again, Pecora there. Went stick side, and Pecora makes a nice save. Fairfield just caused the turnover. That one bounced over the restraining line, barely crawling at Bo Horvath, as Bryce Ford nearly knocked that one away. Instead, Lehigh back on the attack. They have not scored in the second half. Amato, bull dodge. Amato wound himself down into the ground. Now it's Ironman. He's been great all day from up top, the junior midi. Ironman down the left. Shot clock down to 30. Fairfield's defense played so well in this second half, played so well all day long. Now it's Tyler Lehigh. He's got an assist. He comes topside, and he hit the outside of the net, and it's Lehigh who's on it first on a fresh reset. Shot clock back to 60. Lehigh made an outstanding move to get inside. And now Kelly takes it down behind Cage. Little too early, perhaps, to start counting the moments, as this is stuffed home by Kelly for his second, and Lehigh answers. I say a little too early maybe to be counting down towards the end of regulation. And it was time to go for Andrew Kelly, and a man who scored once all of last year now has 6 goals and 2 here today. Scored 2 very big goals to open the scoring last week, that is, against Rutgers. And that time had himself just enough space. And Lehigh answers right on back. Dow versus Smith, as it's been all day. Smith won it clean. Now the race to it. And a hold against Lehigh. Dylan Smith has turned the possession game back in Fairfield's favor over the last few minutes. Faceoffs now 8-5 in favor of Lehigh. 8-6 in favor of Lehigh after another win for Dylan Smith. And Fairfield needing an answer. 11 to go in regulation, down by 4. Coleman across. Sullivan down low. Oh, he missed his man. Had Eli Adams and a yawning net. More, that is, at a yawning net. And just could not put it on more. A turnover forced by Lehigh. Really give it away by Fairfield. 14th Fairfield turnover, 16 for Lehigh. Got a clear for Procaccini. First year under Will Scudder. And he is 10 minutes and 15, now 10-10 away from his first win as the head coach of the Lehigh Mountain Hawks. Program that has had so much success over the last few years has weathered a heck of a storm today. Scott Cole across for Rodney. Decided to cut back, right? He couldn't get his hands free. Cole along for Armstrong. Andrew Kelly just scored. He's got 2 to the outside. And Kelly just mishandled it. Cole found him low. 16th Lehigh turnover. Clear for Fairfield. Jason LeMay back the other way. Fairfield has just been on the edge the entire day, and Lehigh has been one moment, one goal, one turnover away all day long. Now Consoli, they're not giving him any space anymore. He just threw that one, but Gilbert there to save the possession. Gilbert has a step on his long pole and decides to set up the offense. Working from very deep on the invert. Gilbert comes topside. Gilbert bounces it slowly off 2 poles and kept down. Cleared off the line. Ocha Torreira and Pecora both touched it. Fairfield thought it found at least the airspace above the line, but Lehigh gets out of there and gets out of Dodge. Stays 7-3. The play that happened in slow motion. Back the opposite way, Tyler Lehigh for Lehigh. Again, they have just been right here, ready to take a moon-sized leap away from Fairfield. But every single time, Fairfield has defensively made the play that they've needed to. Freddie Amato flips it low. Here's a dive inside and a push into the crease against Fairfield for the second time. On a feed low for Scott Cole, will once again put Lehigh on the EMO. Third extra man chance of the day for Lehigh. They are 0 for their first 3 on the year. And not only is it a penalty against Fairfield, it is a penalty against one of their best defenders, the graduate transfer from Vermont, Danny Manning. He'll sit for the next 30. 8 to go in the game. 55 seconds to go on the shot clock for Lehigh. See if they get what they want. Decker from behind on the flip to Kelly, and he drove it off the side of the net. He gets the reset. 14 seconds to go on the EMO. And they'll take their shots, you figure, if they like it, but because of the shot clock reset and the time that is becoming at every moment that much more valuable for Lehigh, might not want to rush it. Armstrong, 2 seconds, 1 second. Decker missed the net and went off of the shin of a Fairfield player in front. It was Rory Thompson who took the brunt of that howitzer. And out of play once again. No reset now. Even strength. 40 seconds to go on the Lehigh possession. And Manning back out of the box and on the field defensively. Back around and a feet of the spot. Here's the spin and a nice save by Snyder. Picked it up off the ground against Vasile. Looking for his second goal. And with 7 to go, Fairfield's got to go. Nick Giardina, the senior. Snyder. Lancaster. Timeout Fairfield. 6:39 to go. The import of this possession is not lost on Andrew Baxter. For Fairfield, yeah, we talked about it off the top. This is the first time in Andrew Baxter's tenure where every player that you see on this screen is a guy that he recruited after the COVID seasons. He was a great recruiting coordinator at Yale, 2018 national champions. And, of course, have been a championship weekend multiple times in this decade. One of the most successful programs in the country in recent memory. But you come here, been good offensive teams, been good teams overall. But last year, 5-9 in the regular season. They got 3 wins here at home at Rafferty Stadium, but finished 1 spot out of the conference's postseason. And the feeling was coming into this year that there was a special level of buy-in. The idea that, 5 senior captains, they did a special thing where they had the guys basically pick the captains on a kind of ranking system. And the guys that they picked are senior and graduate students that have really put their hearts and souls into this program. And today, those guys have been in the thick of it all day. You look at what Ryan Lancaster has done in the clearing game. You look at what Luka Kupski has done in terms of his physicality. Braden Lynch has been in the thick of it as well. But they have run into a Lehigh team on the other side that you look at the day that, and it's been quiet because Fairfield has had kind of sporadic offensive possessions. But Nick Pecora, the Lehigh netminder, has made save after save against Andrew Baxter's team here today. 3 goals, obviously, on 16 shots on target. Fairfield has more shots on goal than Lehigh does. 16-14, and they've had the same number of EMOs on the day. 17 Lehigh turnovers, 13 turnovers for Fairfield. And I think Will Scudder would probably say they've not played their most perfect game today, and even relative to what they did on the road at Rutgers on Saturday, but they have done more than enough, holding Fairfield to 1 goal in the second, 1 goal in the third, and 1 so far here in the fourth. And that is it. They did not score in the opening period. But Andrew Baxter called the timeout for a reason, right? It's about this possession right here, offensively. Bryce Ford starts it for Fairfield, in need of a goal to get back within 3 for the second time in this second half. That pass was knocked away. Fairfield on it first. Ford comes topside. 2 men around him. Fed it low. One-hand pickup. Oh, what a finish. Will Consoli showing off again. And Fairfield's back within 3. Consecutive goals for Consoli. One with a flamethrower from the outside, and this with a feathery touch on the one-hand catch. You'll see it. Pecora came out like, he had to go grab it, and instead Consoli won the race to it. Golden snitched it and scored. 7-4 game. Fairfield's got the possession courtesy of Smith, and a little bit of magic keeps Fairfield right back in it. Second goal for Consoli. Looked at Andrew Baxter and said, tell me about Will Consoli. What's it like? And the first word out of his mouth was talent, and that was superhuman on both ends, those two goals. And he has kept Fairfield in this game. 7-4 game. Here's Bryce Ford with it, down near the restraining line. He has not scored, a man who scored 31 times to lead all the returners a year ago. Luke Akupski, one of those senior captains. Got his hands free left, just didn't get the shot that he wanted. Shot clock down to 25 for Fairfield, trying to make this 2-goal game. Speed for Ford. He faked the pass. He tried to spin off. He's trying to bully his way through it. He draws a penalty. Went one-on-one with the freshman Bo Horvath. The former Pennsylvania All-Stater called for the penalty, getting up high, and we'll see exactly what the call is. Early season lacrosse, right? Always a little bit more physical, a little bit more jagged than maybe what you'll see as the weather gets a little bit warmer. Refereeing crews had no shortage of choices to make. This is the 7th EMO of the day. 30 seconds for holding. EMO starts. Consoli out top to the left. Gilbert scores! The lead down to 2. Jake Gilbert gets his second. EMO, righty shot, left-hand side, bottom right, picture perfect. (7-5) game. I'm not sure there were a lot of people at 6-1 that thought we'd be here. Fairfield has clambered its way right back in. They've outscored Lehigh in this second half, 4-1. And now a massive, massive spot at the face-off X. The can opener was won there by Dow. He spins away, but got detwigged. Bouncing ball, and now a violation for procedure against Lehigh. Seams coming apart a little bit, and Fairfield back the other way. So Dow won the initial clamp, but Fairfield gets the call. Detwigging from behind as well, and Fairfield can be down by 1 for the first time since the start of the second quarter. Coleman yet to score. Coleman from X. That was dropped. Consoli left it behind, and here comes Lehigh the other way. Richard Checo, their preseason All-Patriot League pick. It's knocked down from behind, and now the whistle. And a big pileup as well in front of the Lehigh bench. Another flag flies. And obviously in the moments, the toughest moments, the biggest moments of this game, these are huge, huge calls for Tim Lutzinger, Alfred Pugh, and John Kress to make. The initial flag that flew was against Fairfield for the push down on Checo in the back. I presume a cross-check. But Will Scudder, reading body language from across the field, looks frustrated because it looks as though the retaliation from Lehigh is going to earn them a penalty as well. And we'll see how they sort out possession as well, depending on exactly what and when these calls are. And these are massive moments in this game. Massive decisions as well. 3:54 to go. Fairfield was down by 5 at the half, and it's a 2-goal game. And in the end, at least on the board for the moment, it's going to be Fairfield's possession with Consoli, it seems, in the box. Lehigh's going to call timeout, be an opportunity to sort it all out. Yeah, so they get Will Consoli for pushing, and then whatever the retaliatory conversation was, yeah, it's Quinn Armstrong who's going to go in the box for a minute, presumably for roughness or something after the play. It gives Fairfield possession back because that is the order of those penalties. So it'll be man down on both sides for 30 seconds and then 30 seconds of an EMO for Fairfield with an opportunity to make this a 1-goal game moments after they just scored on their last EMO. Turned into a pretty good game between these two. You look at the game last year, the final score is 20-10 Lehigh, but it was a 3-goal game at half, and Lehigh just ran them out of the building in the second half, 10-3. The third all-time meeting between these two has been outstanding, and it's been a completely different game, right? Like, that was high-paced sports car F1 race of a game a year ago, and this has just been slow going, right lane traffic, defensive battle between these two. But Nick Pecora has been amazing. The Lehigh goaltender has made save after, he's sitting here on 13 saves. And his defense in front of him has caused 8 turnovers. Will Snyder, after a couple maybe early that, maybe you would want back, tough shots from Scott Cole and a couple of others, he's made some gigantic saves down the stretch. He saved 7 of the 14 that he's seen. And Fairfield defensively in front of him, again, this group that they felt so good about. Andrew Baxter said, we're having levels of conversations between Danny Manning and Braden Lynch in particular, a guy who's a graduate transfer from Vermont and a senior captain for Lynch, having high-level conversations in a way that we've never had before on that end. And we're seeing a defensive work on that end for Fairfield that has really, really been special today. And out of the Lehigh timeout, here we go. Fairfield ball, 2-goal game. They have stormed back. Lehigh has been able to keep them at bay all day long. And the ball out of the timeout starts in the cross of the freshman, John Akupski. 60 and white in his first collegiate game out of Princeton, New Jersey. Looks like Fairfield just wants to take this down to the EMO chance. And now they do. So Will Consoli charges off the sideline. Fairfield's on the extra man now for the next 25 seconds, down by 2 with 3 minutes and 15 seconds to go. They just scored on their last EMO with Jake Gilbert on the left. Gilbert calling for it and gets it here. Consoli back to Gilbert again. Oh, he hit the iron. Long rebound. Fairfield gets there first. 3:01 to go. New shot clock. 6 seconds to go on the EMO. Gilbert nearly pounded a hole in the net again. Lehigh back on. Even strength. Gilbert again. Oh, he hit the iron one more time. Long roll. Lehigh's there. Back-to-back strikes of the orange. Both from Gilbert. Lehigh, Pecora, and the post all hold, and they may have just gotten the stop they need. 2.5 to go. Still time, but Fairfield going to take some chances now. Ironman getting whacked at by Radicic. Amato. They have 50 seconds to go on their shot clock, so they can take this down under 1:20 in the fourth quarter with a 2-goal lead. Ironman decides to shoot and takes advantage and may have just put Lehigh on the path to Will Scudder's first win. First goal for Ironman. You're wondering, all right, maybe they'll take their time. Nope. Top left from Dakota Ironman. 8th for Lehigh. And on a day that has been really about the defenses on both sides, Ironman's offensive play at the end makes this 8-5. And Dow wins the faceoff. Dow down Main Street decides to pull out. That's smart. Take your time, though. He threw it away, bouncing towards the line. Lehigh trying to keep it in. A big ground ball battle picked up by Smith, and the faceoff man gets it ahead. The pass was behind Coleman. He's got to chase it. Another bounding ball. Fairfield needs this, and they get it, but it's a knockdown that sent down a couple of men. Finally picked up, and in the end, out of the craziness, Shane Elliott, the freshman, gets a big ground ball pickup. Minute and a half to go. Fairfield's going to need to score 3 times. And Andrew Baxter calms the seas for a moment with the timeout. That ball was bouncing around, and it really was a clean Lehigh ground ball pickup away and one good pass from being probably the end of this game. And Fairfield, with the rope down to strings, picks up the ball, gets a timeout. It will take 3 over the last 126, but they have the first part of that in possession. Fairfield trying to come back and get a home. They've struggled in openers and at home over the last few years. They're just, after going 4-0 in the shortened 2020 season here at Rafferty Stadium, they're just 9-11 at home. Lost 3 straight openers, 2 of those 3 by 1 goal. And that was the first career victory for Andrew Baxter. And here today, on the road for the Lehigh Mountain Hawks, Will Scudder, who took over for Kevin Cassis, left for Virginia. 5 years as the associate head coach. Takes over the first year as his head coach. The love for him in this program, the love for him around collegiate lacrosse, been so evident. And he is 3 goals, but really 1 minute, 26 seconds away from his first collegiate win. Fairfield has scored 4 times in the second half. Lehigh has scored twice. They just got a big one from Ironman. 3-goal game, $1:26 to go, and Lehigh is probably 1 stop away. Luka Kupski takes it back down behind the net. Fairfield's got to go. Akupski comes top side, takes a hit in the process. Akupski out top on the setup and the score for Will Consoli's hat trick. And Fairfield has life in the lungs again. 2-goal game. Not sure what to do down the stretch. They've just put it in this man's cross, and Consoli's gone 3 times to beat Pecora, twice from the outside from the high slot, and now once inside as well. All right, 2-goal game. Lehigh probably a face-off and a clean clear away. Sean Dow versus Dylan Smith, 10-7 Lehigh advantage. These 2 guys have taken every draw today. The clamp won by Dow. He spins out of there, but the ball is still bouncing towards the restraining line. Dow's got it, and he gets it away. Tim Curlin back to Pecora. They've got 16 seconds to clear. Fairfield's ride has Snyder out of his net. 8 seconds to clear. Ball's knocked down, free in the midfield, and Fairfield's got it. The turnover forced, and now Adams on the run. Deals it left, down towards the doorstep, and they score! Inside, will it count? Gilbert does make it count. And Fairfield's within 1, the turnover they needed. Somehow kept his feet on the high dive, on the feed from Lancaster, and falls backwards out of the net mouth to make it 8-7 with 45 seconds to go. Dow just won the faceoff, but Fairfield forced the turnover. Wow. So now here we go. Dow against Smith. Dow Gets it towards the Fairfield end, scooped up by Richard Checo. A flag down, and Dow stays down as well. He took a big hit. A battle for that ball. It was, I believe it was Dow who was going in after it, and obviously you got a Fogo in there, you got Wings going in there, trying to pick up the most important possession of the day, and he got hit very hard at the midline. We'll check it in a moment, but a moment to breathe. 35.5 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. Lehigh, obviously, on the far side, took exception to it as well. Get another look at it. And Dow just, yeah, battling for it. Got a push there. Kind of up high. And it is really wonderful to see him get back up. That was Radicic, the freshman, fighting for a ground ball in his first collegiate game. And Dow gets up, slowly walks off, and again, really glad to see him get up and get over there. And so, 2 minutes. And now that is not a penalty that ends this game, but certainly makes it very, very difficult for Fairfield. They're going to have to, in all likelihood, down a man, take Will Snyder either out of the net or at least pressure in some kind of way. And usually you do that, but down a man, Lehigh's going to have 2 men open at that point. So we will see. 35.5 seconds to go. Fairfield will need a miracle turnover and come back down the other way and score. Quinn Armstrong starts with it. They're going to let the senior 6'4" with those big strides run. 28 seconds to go. The sands falling now in the hourglass. Armstrong using the length of the field, and they can't really get 2 men at him, though he throws this one high in the air and out of play. 17 seconds to go for Fairfield. 17 seconds, down a man. Here goes Fairfield. Down by a man and down by 1. With speed for more. Deals it right for Gilbert. 8 seconds. Gilbert dropped the ball. Checo picks it up. He throws it high in the air, and when it lands, Lehigh will escape with an 8-7 win on the road, and Will Scudder chucks up that first career W. Five-goal game at the half turned into that at the end, with Fairfield at one last run at it the other way and just could not make it happen in 17 seconds. And Richard Checo, one of the best players on the Lehigh back end, picks up the ground ball and throws it to the heavens to give Lehigh their first win of the season. What a game it turned into. The first of the year here in February at Rafferty Stadium. Fairfield storms all the way back, gets within 1 goal for the first time since the second quarter. But in the end, Lehigh and Will Scudder hold on to get the victory. That is it for us. Huge thanks to our Fairfield crew out there all day, putting a great show for you together, led by Wyatt Dossie, Carlton Best, Kelly Bolton, and our entire crew. I'm Cooper Boardman saying so long from Fairfield. Lehigh gets the win on the opening weekend of college lacrosse here in Connecticut. Ooh.